Hello, my name is Axel Ryman, and this is Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, a game by Artplay, who also features Koji Igarashi, one of the brilliant minds behind the Castlevania series, including Symphony of the Night. The game was raised on Kickstarter and released a few years ago. This is part of my submission for the FFR Rando Marathon for summer 2025. As an extra game mode, the randomizer mode was added as sort of a stretch goal to replace the roguelike mode that was originally going to be included for Bloodstained. However, the roguelike mode was actually canned due to the fact that it was not possible. So, for the randomizer mode, we get to choose a save file, we get to name the file whatever, so I will just name it the FFR Marathon file. You get to choose your difficulty, normal, hard, or nightmare. Most of the people who play this randomizer, especially for the racing community, we will play on normal. Nightmare is not exactly a fun game mode because you are restricted to level 0, or level 1, and you will not gain any experience. And hard mode does add some extra enemies to make it a little bit more difficult. However, we kind of don't really like to use that as a way to challenge ourselves, especially because a number of fights can be a lot harder and take a lot longer just to actually complete. So all of us use normal mode because it is a more balanced difficulty. We all customize the seeds by choosing for our goal to defeat all evil, requiring us to defeat the boss Jeeble and then access the final boss at the end of the game, Bale. We shuffle key items to be anywhere. We leave save and warp rooms to be unchanged. Enemy drops, we have chaos. We shuffle the quests, we shuffle the shops, and we shuffle crafting. And this is the important part for our first rule set, the same type shuffle. We retain the type. So what does retain type specifically affect? For the most part, all enemies in this game can drop a certain type of shard, which is like your souls from Aria of Sorrow. There are multiple different types of shards. There are red, which are considered as conjure shards. You have familiar shards, which are green. Yellows, which are pretty much passives. You got blues that are kind of like special types of shards that can grant extra abilities. And you got purple shards, which are directional shards. If you kind of saw a little bit earlier, I got a few things just for starting the file. That is due to a collaboration with Shantae. The DLC did provide a couple of equipment items for all players of Bloodstained. It is free, it is part of the game, so we do allow it in our races. In some cases, we even allow the paid DLC, like the Succubus, the Sakura outfit, and the Magical Girl one. But we did pick up the Zangetsuto, which is a key item. Chests also are pretty much in the same spots as they are in the vanilla game, and in the case of the retain type, or the same type shuffle, all the key item chests will just be shuffled amongst each other. That's pretty much like the whole purpose of the same type shuffle. We don't want to make it be too insane when it comes to actually trying to find things. So, going back to my shard mentions, enemies will have specific colored shards on them. In this case, the red shard I picked up earlier off of the regular Mort enemies, normally they do not have a shard. But in the randomizer, they can be given a shard. And by default, they are given a red shard. So all enemies that drop red shards will immediately give you a red shard. The Cannon Mort that we fought earlier and gained a purple shard from will always have a purple shard. The interesting thing about this game is that the very first Cannon Mort enemy you defeat will automatically grant you a purple shard due to the vanilla game's mechanics. It teaches you how to use the Cannon Mort shard to utilize a cannon to destroy the wall and gain access. In the randomizer, we don't have to do that, but they kept the 100% in, so we have a guaranteed chance of getting a purple shard. Now, I did pick up a very interesting sword called the Zangetsuto, which is very interesting because it is one of the two major key items that we need.
Congratulations.
And for defeating our boss with no damage, we get the Vapar medal, which doesn't really do anything. unfortunately. But with the Zangetsuto, we pretty much have a 50%, or we are pretty much halfway done to, halfway there to beating the seed, actually. The other thing that we need is a shard called Dimension Shift. Dimension Shift is a bit of a teleporting type of shard which can let you go through walls and reach areas that you normally cannot. So we have to figure out where that is. This is also where the same type shuffle is very important. With the same type shuffle, we know pretty much the possible locations that Dimension Shift can be in. Oh, hold on. I saw a very important ingredient, and that's rice. Rice is kind of important because it may actually be one of our only sources of healing if we can find a specific item. So for Dimension Shift is a purple shard, which means we have to kill enemies that will drop purple shards, which there are quite a few of them. We actually got one earlier, as I mentioned. These bone morts right here also drop another one, but it's getting them to drop, of course, that is a bit of a problem. That is one of the reasons why we kind of like do the same type shuffle, because knowing what enemies will have the potential shard makes it easier for us and doesn't extend the seeds to be too long and too frustrating for people. So it's definitely good for someone who's like just starting to get into the whole Bloodstained Randomizer, especially if they want to like do some racing. Like shoutouts to members of the racing community, started by Jupiter Climb, who is very well known for a lot of Castlevania speedruns, racing, and even randomizer stuff. We have a number of great people in the Discord: Fran, Rainbow, Tony Ortiz, Amadeus. I know I'm forgetting a couple people because there's quite a lot of people. Yeehaw. Also, shout out to Tony, who is also submitting a run for to try to get Bloodstained in. He has done a great job with doing some commentary and even trying to showcase the races off whenever possible. So the Zangetsuto, like I said, is one of the two requirements to be in the game. Without it, we cannot progress to the final area, which is the Den of Behemoth, which then also leads into the Glacial Tomb. Without Dimension Shift, we cannot beat the game because we need it to actually get access to a specific area. As you can see with the movement, backdashing is my main method of movement. You can do cancels by ducking, like this, but just, of course, very fast movement. There are a number of checks I will be doing, though, like treasure chests. There is a purple shard, which gives us Chisel Barrage, a very powerful skill, but it does consume a lot of MP. One of the earlier accessory checks I got gave me an item called Gauge Glasses, which in the community we refer to as the wrong GGs. Mainly because we are looking for... Well, we would like to receive another accessory that also has the acronym of GG. The Jeebel's Glasses, which works very similar to the Chaos Ring in Aria Sorrow, in that it pretty much makes it so that you have infinite MP. Shards will not cost you anything, which makes it our main source of damage. And the Chisel Barrage, as I said, does consume a lot of MP, which does actually kind of hurt you when you don't have a lot of MP options. So, right now we are doing the pretty much biggest farm that we tend to kind of struggle with because, one, the map isn't exactly the most favorable, but there are 3 enemies here in this room. The Toad, the Plume Parma, which is the giant flying pig, and the Blood Grinder Knight, who likes to go ooh when you kill it. The Toads are the main things that we're trying to farm here, but we are, in my case, I do try to farm all 3 of the enemies, because they all drop purple shards. So, I mainly want to try to get the one from Toad, which right now is a bust. I'm going to kill a little bit extra just for some experience. Alright, so now I'm going to just move on to the next area. Because we got the Toad, and there are better farming spots for Plume Parma and the Blood Grinder Knight. One of the main things with the farming aspect of this is finding like the best stages, the best maps for, which is something that we in the racing community always try to find. For example, this next room right here is good for 2 enemies. This one, the Barbados, and the Blood Grinder Knight. Now, I don't really have something that can easily hit them, so we're just going to skip this part. The Plume Parma we can actually just skip for now. It may have our Dimension Shift, which if we were racing, we could pretty much be throwing right now, which is not a big deal. We can always just farm it later. Oh, and we got the Blood Grinder Knight, which is, as you can kind of see, like there's a few more. This is a warp room. We're going to just unlock it now for later. I'm going to be a little bit extra cautious and use this save point. One thing I purposely do is I purposely save just in case if there's like any sort of crashes. There have been times where the game has crashed for people, but it's usually like rare, but I don't like to take chances. Unfortunately, I messed up, and I messed up again. There we go. I was hoping that maybe the back hit would actually work. Unfortunately, I did mess that up quite a bit, but there are techniques in the game for different weapons. It's not specifically tied to weapon type initially. It is mostly tied to specific weapons. In this case, the Zangetsuto has the parry special ability. They are usually done by fighting game commands, like quarter circle forward, half circle forwards in some cases. In this case, with the parry, it is double forward with attack. Whether or not they're useful is questionable. We got our first yellow shard, which is a great sword expertise. Unfortunately, not that good. This is the Boyer. I hate it because it just interrupted me. But you can kind of see, like, I'm skipping quite a number of enemies, mainly because they don't really provide anything super useful. They might have a good shard on them, but they don't have a shard I need. This is the white shard, which is usually like a special ability command type thing. They tend to always be active, but you never have to equip them. I do gotta be careful, because as you can see, I am getting low on health. Just gonna throw a potion there. You know what? I'm actually going to be risky. You know what? Just use my 2 other potions. There we go. Risk sort of paid off. Unfortunately, I did take a hit that I didn't want to take. So, because we got Invert, which, as you can see, turns the entire map upside down, this is a late-game shard, which you don't normally have access to at this point, but we got this one because the container that we hit normally contains a white shard, which in the vanilla game is shortcut. Resist magic. I will actually equip this just because it's a little bit of a minor damage reduction, but we kind of want to minimize our damage right now, or minimize the damage we take. We don't exactly have a lot of defensive options. But Invert can kind of like be a little bit of a cheat code at times because it does give you the ability to do more. Excuse me. To do more, to expand your gameplay more because of the fact that you can just trivialize any sort of puzzle. You can also trivialize fights. There are a number of enemies that can't exactly deal with Invert. Apparently, I can also deal with Invert because of how much I'm stumbling on that. But we unlock a shortcut to come down here for 2 reasons. One, we want to hit these guys because they grant us a purple shard. And something to like understand, it is not that easy to get purple shards. Sometimes getting the purple shards are pretty difficult. I'm going to actually switch to the 8-bit fireball. The 8-bit fireball is actually a pretty powerful shard, but you're not going to see too much of it. We are getting some decent equipment, but I'm not going to be equipping it. The one thing about the Shantae gear is that it is decent enough to just work with. Oh, I actually got to kill this thing. So this is Ordog. He does have a purple shard. Unfortunately, we are getting a bit low again. Thankfully, there is a save point right here. I just gotta be extra cautious. Because that sword is the Bloodbringer. It is a familiar as well if you manage to get a shard normally, which is kind of annoying and annoyingly difficult. But otherwise, yeah, it's a decent shard. Familiars don't really do too much. They're not really that good. Bloodbringer, unfortunately, is in the middle. Silver Knight is good as a defensive option. Okay, so this is our third boss fight with Craftwork, who gives us a blue shard, which we are hoping not for Craftwork, but for a different one called Accelerator, which if you played Aria of Sorrow or Dawn of Sorrow, you probably know the Black Panther. The Black Panther lets you just dash and deal damage to enemies that you come in contact with, but the main use of it, speed. You want the speed. Unfortunately, we don't get the speed right now. So, using the save point just for an MP refresh, in case I need it. Now, because we got invert early, we got to do this top part, which is normally a more mid-game type of area. That's kind of like why I was playing it a little bit cautious, because the enemies are actually very powerful. Alright, I'm actually going to kill this one a few times. Even though these guys are not the Blood Grinder Knights, they also go E-Ooh. We're only going to really try to hear the E's. Make it a bit of an ooh right there. One reason why we are killing the shield outsider quite a bit is because they do drop a purple shard. There are not really many good places to farm them. This is probably like one of the best. So I'm giving it a couple of tries to see if maybe, just maybe, I can get it. If not, I will just come back later. Again, we kind of like are missing the Plume Parma, so if my Dimension Shift is there, then if this was a race, I would pretty much be telling myself I would have already lost. So, just keep going. It's entirely possible where you may actually have both runners skip, so going back for it may actually be the best call. But for now, this isn't a race, it's just myself. Alright, I'll give it like maybe 2 more, and if it doesn't drop, I will move on. So the same type shuffle also keeps the key items in similar locations. The Zangetsuto I got at the start normally gives you the knife and the Kung Fu boots, which are pretty much your first starting items for equipment. But they are considered key items. As a result, the game will actually give you a key item in that chest, and you will eventually do a key item check, and you'll get both the knife and the Kung Fu boots. Did get a nice little yellow shard for my trouble, which wasn't really worth it. Got an MP recovery. I don't really like the Titania, so I'm going to actually just, avoid it as much as possible. Avoid the Bloodbringer. This is sort of endgame in terms of the area. We are already in endgame because, well, we have the invert shard, which allows us to get up here much more easily. This is actually something I have not used, so let's equip the 2 Plunder's Ring. One thing is, there are accessories that affect your luck, and they actually do work. On the scale of how they work, we don't really know for sure, but we know that, all in all, they do work. I'm also going to equip a couple other items instead, so we're going to change our outfit. We're not going to be the half-genie hero, sort of. I'm going to unlock this warp point, because what I may be doing is a required boss fight for same-type shuffle. In fact, in general, it is a required boss fight. Actually, I'm going to grab this recipe up here. It could also be a hair color option. Yep, it is. I am also trying to like maybe find a recipe because maybe I will get enough. I will get a recipe where I can make a food item. Our healing options are very limited and low, unfortunately. Anyway, this is Jibo. I personally call him Gerbil. He is not the final boss, but he is one that would be near endgame. That's kind of like why, one, he's actually, doing quite a lot of damage. And did take a while to defeat. But you notice that we went after the boon, which turned crimson red. The reason being, if you kill him, it's a game over. This works similar to the Richter fight in Symphony of Night. Also, let me use a waystone here instead of doing what I was just doing. Ooh, I may grab that, actually. Just for fun. So, in regards to the quests I just turned in and took, they're not required in any way, but sometimes they give you some decent items. In this case, I'm going for an item that isn't really necessary. Also, I just realized I never got the Bowmort, so good thing I did. Inferno Breath is a pretty good shard. Not exactly one that we would use. So the reason why I'm going back here is because I want the Strawberry Latte, or Alate, I don't know how it's pronounced. Unfortunately, I am not well versed in medieval English. But we just got to kill this demon 3 times, and then we turn in the quest. We get one of these items. It is a very helpful MP recovery, which we will want to have, especially because we get 5 of them. But food items in this game also give you permanent stat boosts once you eat them. There's also a warp point right up here. We didn't unlock it earlier because we had no need to. So I still need the Plume Parma, which we can go grab as soon as we head back into the garden. When we got the Craftwork shard, this pretty much unlocks the other half of the garden that we did not go towards. Which at this point would actually be vanilla, because Craftwork is well, he gave us his own shard. Since there aren't many blue shards in the pool, getting a Craftwork early on is definitely very much possible. I'm also going to unlock this. This leads us to the final area of the game, the Den of Behemoth, which then leads into the Palatial Tomb. Yeah, unfortunately, my best time is not going to be beaten. I actually didn't want to go in here, but you know what? Since I am here, I'm going to go this way. This way leads to a dead end, but the reason why I'm going this way is because there is an accessory check. We call it the meme check for a number of reasons. One, it's way out of the way to obtain, and in a number of cases, like a race I had when Jupiter Climb held a tournament, it had not the nose glasses, but the Jeeble's glasses. I had already kind of found my dimension shift with my Zangetsuto, and as a result, I was pretty much on pace to beat the game. The opposing runner would not have found dimension shift as easily as I did, because I did what was also considered another meme check. I will do that check if we do not find dimension shift soon. Unfortunately, we're not going to do... Actually, we could do it. So this is Craftwork, just to show. The short and sweet of it is that Craftwork lets you grab onto objects like that. Normally, you would move that pedestal out of the way, and then you would talk to the guy on the other side, who will jump over the chasm and bring you up to the other side. But we don't really need to do that. I'm going to lock this warp point because if I do find Dimension Shift soon, I can warp back to this room. And then I could just go straight back into the Den of Behemoth. The capacity upgrade is mostly for guns, ammo. Yeah, gun ammo. But we don't really use guns, at least in same type shuffle, because of the fact that there really is no use for it, for them. The thing with guns is that they require ammo to actually use, and the bullets also make up a good part of your attack power. If we were to use them, we'd run out of bullets. Unless we had an item called the Recycle Hat, which, unfortunately, we don't really have access to here. In a same type shuffle, you can't exactly craft it as easily. If we were to do what's called a Max Chaos Seed, which I will be doing shortly after, then it would actually be more worth farming. Or, yeah, farming the items to craft it if needed. And then guns would actually have more of a use. Although guns do have a bit of a weak spot in some cases, especially because it depends on your bullet types. I'm going to this area right now because there is a blue shard I can get here. And if I get a potential blue shard drop, it could be Accelerator. If I get Accelerator, it very much makes it worth it. Otherwise, there are no purples on this path, so this is technically just a time waster. Except I got that, and hey, hello! We actually got Accelerator. So now my movement is just increased immensely. There is only one other blue shard I would like. I may try to grab it, which there is another blue enemy right here. The werewolf. Or the wolf man, rather. I will kill at least 3 for the quest. Oh, we got a blue, and... Oh, it is actually Standstill, which is what I was looking for. Standstill, if you know Dio Brando from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Zaworldo, that's pretty much what it does. That is not a joke. That is exactly what it does. It drains your MP, like, completely fast. So, if we find Jeebel's glasses, it definitely makes the whole point of getting it worth it. I did actually miss an accessory check, which could be Jeebel's, but we'll come back to that. Also, those little doors you have to actually hold open like that. This is another blue shard, which we don't really need, so we're going to skip on Roll Shot. Also going to go down here for another accessory check. For the Rose Ring. Rose Ring lets you get extra MP off the roses that you get from torches. Some of those hidden items that I'm grabbing, like the HP Max Up, they are not required, but I do like to pick them up as a possibility of, you know, extra health. Extra health is always worth it. 1, 2, 3. This is OD, who is voiced by the same person who voiced Alucard. Oh, actually, let me grab the warp point first, because I may not be coming back here. Well, I don't want to come back here the slow way. There's also this little thing. You just use invert to kind of like, you know, have a little fun with them. And you will get an accessory. When the game doesn't bug out. Sometimes, unfortunately, the game bugs out like this. So, we like to joke that the game is definitely not a buggy game. There we go. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. It's actually happened to me during races. Did it cost me? No, it didn't. And even if it did, I could not use that as an excuse. Like, personally, I would not. This is Andrialphus, who, in the vanilla game, actually gives you access to double jump. So that's actually like one of the benefits of the Silver Knight. It can block projectiles at times. Shortcut. I was kind of hoping maybe for potential vanilla double jump or even a high jump. High jump, you press L1 in, well, in my case because it's a PlayStation controller. But you press L1 and suddenly you just zoom up right to the sky. I'm going this way for a moment because there is another accessory check I want to do, and there is a boss fight I can do, which I might do because it also has a chance for a purple, or at least a purple that is better accessible. Oh, actually, there's this guy, Mirage, who... Ooh, actually does have one of the more important and useful purple shards. Follow Tyab. So we gotta be careful of this room here. It has the traps on the side, on the platforms and the floor. If you touch them, you take a lot of damage. There is an armor that can actually prevent you from taking any sort of damage from them. Actually, no. This way. Normally you can't go this way because you don't have a way to fit through a small space in terms of jumping. We can't go that way. Actually, we don't want to go that way either way. Alright, so even though I was upside down, the game decided, yeah, you shouldn't be like that. We're going to fix it for you, so no reason to waste time. Alright, so we're going to see Fall Tyab. Get used to that, because we're going to be hearing that for quite a bit. Right, I'm moving back a little bit just so I don't accidentally get hit by the dragon, because it can actually launch me back into the wall, which does actually hurt. Unfortunately, no shard drop. If it dropped the shard, it would have been purple. In a number of cases, since we're now back here, we would actually go from the top part of the top floor down to the library, because it would have actually been easier for us to defeat that enemy. Just checking to see if there's a couple things. Also, our favorite item, missing string table entry. If you don't know, the missing string table entry is the item that is in the co-op and chaos modes, which provides healing immediately upon grabbing. Ribbon, I'm actually going to equip that. That is more luck. You can kind of see I'm sort of going with a luck stack type of build. I'm going to head back to the library because going here will allow me to go back to the Tower of Twin Dragons, which I do have that one accessory check I missed, but there is a purple that I can grab. I will say that if Jupiter Klein is ever watching this, I am so sorry I am not eating the mac and cheese. Oh, wait. I talked about the accessory, and I am missing it yet again. This is actually going to help me, because this enemy has a purple. Didn't give it to me, unfortunately. I'm finding all sorts of glasses, but unfortunately I'm not finding the Jeebel's glasses, which... if it didn't occur to you, yes, Jeebel is the name of the boss that we defeated earlier. And yes, he has a pair of glasses that we can pilfer from him. By pilfer, I mean, well, we need the game to give it to us. Not a big fan of poison toads. The one thing about the randomizer is that it isn't exactly prone to preventing soft locks. Or it is prone to soft locks. That's a better wording. Anyone who has done a lot of seeds like myself definitely is aware of how much the game can kind of screw you over, because it yoinked a very important shard out of the pool. Like, I've had times where my dimension shift just did not exist. And that's because of how the randomizer kind of works. So the one thing that you see differently when it comes to, say, this randomizer versus other randomizers like Ocarina of Time and even Aria of Sorrow, there isn't exactly perfect logic around it. Mostly just doing that for the shortcut if I ever need it. It being the team's first attempt, I will actually give them a little bit of credit. Obviously, it kind of sucks that it's not perfectly immune to soft locks. They've made attempts to actually fix it. We didn't have to see it here because the game gave us the invert and the Zangetsuto at normal points. But one of the main issues that a number of people, including myself at times, have had was not finding the Zangetsuto, which meant you could not access the final areas. Which meant the sea was incompletable, unless you used glitches. And in some cases, you could not get a shard for mobility, which meant that you were stuck the moment that you defeated Craftwork, because you had no way to get to the second part of Garden, or you couldn't get to the upper part of Cathedral. So one reason why we are spamming it like this, instead of, say, holding it, is because it consumes less MP, but deals more damage as a result. It's not like the individual hits deal more damage, it's more the fact that the Faltayab deals damage while it's active. And it activates the moment that you press the button. And when she says the skill, or the shark. Alright, so this is Valak. He is a boss that can actually softlock your game, apparently. I can't say I've experienced it. I've seen parts where it is very similar to a softlock. But for the most part, if you have the damage tools, like I just do right now, you can make this fight be very, very, very auto-scrolly. He has more attacks, it's just that we skip most of them. So this is like one of the reasons why we fought him. He gives us a purple shard, which it can be Dimension Shift. It's not, though. But he also gives us a key item. In some cases, Zangetsuto can be right here. Instead, we get crafting materials, which is technically a key item. These are given to us by Johannes normally in the vanilla game. The items that he provides to us normally, or he provides to us in the randomizer, can be any other key item. So he can give us the Zangetsuto. But we didn't get any... I forget what we got from him. It wasn't anything noteworthy. I'm just going to go here for this and this. This is actually where I should farm Ordog while I'm at it. Because that is another enemy I need to farm. In some cases, some racers have orphaned the Ordog, and it resulted in a very bad race for them. Also, enemy drops are randomized. Well, they're shuffled amongst each other. In this case, the gunpowder ×5 is actually from a endgame enemy. I think it's the giant cannon morts that you find in the Den of Behemoths. But ×5 gunpowder is good if you get a shard that uses them. A lot of these items are used for crafting equipment or for upgrading shards. Gunpowder can be used for one of the most powerful conjure shards called Hellhound, which if we get it, then we want to definitely find Jeebel's glasses, because Jeebel's glasses will make its very high MP cost be nothing. And it does have some of the highest damage potential. Unfortunately, something like this does happen more often than people like, so we do gotta farm. I'm not going to pick up any more items because it seems like it's all gunpowder. I forget what the other drop tables are. For the most part, with the same type shuffle, and even in a number of cases, the max chaos setting, if you know enemy drops, then you kind of know what to expect in some cases. A good example is an item that's very useful for max rando. Ooh, Tisrozion actually is not a bad shard. The only bad thing about it is, well, what you're about to hear. She will shout that every time you use it. However, one, it's light elemental, so it does deal a lot of damage to most enemies. And it's pretty much a Kamehameha. The downside is, of course, she constantly, Miriam will constantly shout this whenever she uses it. So, you're going to either love it or hate it. But the other thing is, if you hold it, it will drain your MP, but it doesn't deal constant damage. And you can kind of like see, like right there, it took 3 fire shots because the second one didn't register. Plume Karma, unfortunately, not anything we need. Nope, not this one. I think it's this one. No. Okay, I forgot it was the bottom one. It's been a while. Kitsune mask. That's not exactly an accessory. It's more of a head. A hat. Unfortunately, we don't exactly have the ability to swim in water. I'm going to also go up here for a quick moment. There is an accessory I just want to see. Maybe if it's Jeebel's. If it is, great. If it's not, then not the worst thing. Oh, wait, no, not that way, not that way. But yeah, Tisrozion, you can't really just spam it onto enemies like Fall Tayab. The thing with Fall Tayab is that there are a number of enemies and bosses included that will resist darkness damage, but Fall Tayab, but how it works, is still really good. Okay, unfortunately, Rusted Ring is not really useful, so we're just going to go back down. Also, yes, this is Shovel Knight, if you're curious. Also, now with both the levels, different equipment, and of course the HP upgrades that we picked up, we can kind of like just jump right through these enemies and not really worry too much. Normally we don't have the ability to swim underwater, and if you play this game normally, then you probably know, like, this is probably one of the most annoying things in the game right here. Because it has a shard that is required, and there is no indication that it's required. Everyone, myself included, pretty much agree that is not exactly a good game design decision. I forget if there was a specific reason. I think it was like just more a case of they had something planned, but unfortunately it fell through. Can I jump from there? Yes, I can. Strider Belt. Unfortunately, because we have accelerated, Strider Belt is not that useful. It lets you have a better slide. Also, I just got an item called Alcahas. I will get to that in a moment. But the Strider Belt lets you kind of like do some nice little fancy slide tricks. Specifically, it increases the distance that you slide. But if you backdash cancel your slide, then you can actually get some better distance than backdashing. If you do it fast enough. Otherwise, just backdashing is fine. But since we don't have the shard from the Decimas, we can't really just go through here easily. And because the actual underwater shard is past this area, which means, well, normally it is. I don't know if it's here in this randomizer. We actually... Oh, I will want to heal. I'm definitely going to eat the mac and cheese, which Jupiter Klein would be disappointed that it took me so long to eat it. He always says, eat your mac and cheese the moment that you get it. Oh, I kind of didn't need to heal. I could have just gotten that, but I'd rather not risk dying on that part. Right there is another accessory, but we cannot get it for two reasons. One, we don't have the shard that lets us move around underwater normally, and two, we don't have one of two shards that will let us get it. One of them is Dimension Shift, the other is Reflector Ray. Alright, we now have to figure out if the caverns provide. Because this is the last of the purples. The answer is no. There is one more purple I can go get, which I'm actually going to go do. Oh, before I do, actually, I am going to go unlock the warp point. I almost forgot about the warp point. Oh yeah, you want to be careful of getting in contact with Amy. The ghost enemy that we just kind of ran into can inflict the slow status on us. Slow status is not really good for fast speed. And unfortunately the poison toads are, well, poisonous as their name says. Do I have... I do not have a thing for that. Poison cannot really kill you specifically, at least not to my knowledge. Doesn't mean I want to try to find out. I'm gonna go up here just in case there's an HP. There is. If it was MP, I would have also accepted. I probably should have went down, actually. I'll take another HP, though. So in terms of combat, for the final boss, we are actually pretty safe right now. I have plenty of health, I just gotta not use up too many... whatchamacallit, too many of my healing items that I currently have. Because we don't have access to a lot. I did buy rice earlier, but we are also looking for a item called the Halite. The Halite will allow us to use with the rice to make a very special dish. Rice balls. These are the very first food item that you will create. They restore the least amount of HP out of all the food items. But when you craft it, you can buy it from the shop. When you can buy it from the shop, you have a nearly infinite supply. Alright, so this is the last enemy that we're going to fight on this side of the map, because this one does drop a purple shard. I'm also seeing that it drops the Eastern Fabric, which is very special because Eastern Fabric means it can drop an item called the Shinobi Garb. It's not as strong defensively as the Valkyrie Dress that I'm currently equipped with, which does also provide me the highest luck stat out of all armor. But the Shinobi Garb does also give me a lot of strength and a lot of magic. And right there we got it. So that would be good for damage. And lethargy. Okay. Let's see. I don't exactly have a lot of other things I can really check at the moment, so I may actually just go into the Den of Behemoths. There is a key item I can get there. Unfortunately, we haven't found a very important key item that can unlock a couple of areas, which also have a high chance of having Dimension Shift. So, we're going to go back to the Garden of Silence. Just jump over here. I'm actually going to... Hold on. Oh, I can't, because I didn't actually do it. So, if I actually realized I would have been doing that, which I should have, I would have actually just done the whole thing. I'll grab that MP for free. Nope. Don't really need to do anything else. So, let's go to the den. We're going to go left this time. Left is actually progression. Now, there is a key item right up here. So, unfortunately, this is pretty much where the game kind of like just starts reusing assets, but does so in a different way. Because this is just the Garden of Silence. But it's more red and, well, some parts of it are larger. Or we're just tiny. But there was, like, no standing bridge, so we kind of had to use invert numerous times just to actually get over the platform. Now, we can't just, you know, double jump over, even if we had it. Thankfully, we got the Abyssal Dragon drop, which means I don't have to farm it anymore. Now, in a number of cases, we will actually get Dimension Shift before this, which, unfortunately, because I did not do my shopping, this boss is going to have a bit more HP than normal. But if we get Dimension Shift before reaching this boss, we actually can skip him. Actually, I'm going to switch to Fall Tab. I was hoping I could maybe dodge that.
Just watch as I clean you out. Plunder.
In Japanese, he says garnishmento, because he's garnishing your wages, all the money that you made.
Is this all you have?
He does say different things depending on how much money that you actually have that he takes. Also, Silver Knight pretty much being a goat right there. The more money he takes, the more HP he regains back. There is an achievement, and it is possible that if you have 0 gold going into this fight, he will comment on that. In English, it's usually like, "What? You're flat broke?" Which, with the way he looks when he's dying, because he does the same death animation, looks completely ridiculous with how he sounds. While in Japanese, it's like, impossible. How could you? How could you not have money? Hey, I know he like says impossible. Okay, I was kind of hoping that that might have been an MP, because I'm running low on MP. I don't want to use my strawberry a lot, but I might as well, because we are coming up to what is essentially the bailout check. We call it the bailout check because it is the last accessory location to get Jeebel's glasses. And we've found Jeebel's glasses here quite a bit. Unfortunately, we found an O for the Talisman. So, there are some enemies I could kill here for purple shards, but I'm not going to do that. So, instead I'm going to go to the Hall of Termination. So I did allude earlier about a check that put me far ahead in a race that allowed me checking the main check to just further increase my lead. Oh, actually, this is also a key item check up here. This is the attic. Unfortunately, just the key, which isn't really helpful to us. Or that specific key isn't. This is the 8-bit Nightmare. It's an area that you can't just leave unless you have waystones. So whenever, like, we do these races, well, this isn't a race, but whenever we do races, we try not to come here unless we have waystones. And even then, we try not to unless we're desperate. Or if you're me and you just gamble on it. But we do call it when this, the skeleton enemy that I've been killing drops a purple shard and it happens to be Dimension Shift. We call it the 8-bit tax. And considering the tax season just ended, or at least, you know, submitting your taxes, hopefully everyone did theirs. I'm actually going to go this way. Because these 8-bit ghosts do spawn in specific locations, so some of them will be triggered by where you go. Okay, so these are the last 4. If we do not get it here, that's not good. Okay, we got a purple Aqua Stream. That is actually the shard that you normally would get in the vanilla game to get access to the desert. I'm trying to think what else I could do. There has to be a key item I have not obtained yet, because I do not have access to a specific location. If I do not have access to that location, then that is not good. But there's also an armor chest that I need to also pick up because it has an armor I really, really need. So I'm trying to kind of think right now. I'm going to go here first. So we grabbed a book earlier from OD, Orlok Dracul. And the books give you bonuses, depending on the book you pick up. The more times you teleport, the more books you can take, up to 3. So I'm going to take the Deadeye Tome, which increases our directional shard damage, which is the Fal Tayab and the Tisor Zion. And I'm also going to take the Intelligence, the Sage's Tome. So that is going to boost the damage of both Fal Tayab and Tisor Zion, which I'm going to switch to. Now I'm going to switch to Tower of Twin Dragons. There is a check I'm going to do right here because it does have equipment. It may have the equipment I need. If not, then I need to figure out a different location to go to. I totally could have done this before when I defeated Valak, but I chose not to. Oh, whoops. Ah, it's actually vanilla. Okay, so we do have the item that we need, so we're going to go back. So in the vanilla game, that is the location of the Aegis Plate, which is what I just got. The Aegis Plate makes you immune to environmental trap damage. So spikes, lava, that's really it. Well, I guess like the little things in the library. Right, this is where I take off Accelerator because we need to use Craftwork to pick this up. Oh yeah, it also makes you immune to the Iron Maiden damage. With Aegis Plate, we can go through here. If we did not have Aegis Plate, the other option would be to use as much food as possible. We could also glitch through the map if needed. Me being a personal, I don't like to use glitches when doing randomizers because I am not a fan of using skips to beat it in that case. Regular gameplay is one thing, but not for randomizers. But that's just my personal opinion. If you want to do it, go for it. Do what you want. But yeah, that is how we get into the Oriental Garden. Or Oriental Secret Garden. Sorcery Garden. I forget what it is. No, we don't want to go that way. That way doesn't lead to anything I need. Gustian needs to die because I don't like them. Okay, another accessory unfortunately did not give me what I needed. This is Haganti. It is a purple shard. It is also the one I hate the most. Ooh, Reflector Ray is pretty decent. Unfortunately, we don't really have use for it right now. Nope, not this way, not this way. I want to go this way. Alright, there is technically 2 enemies here that will give me a purple shard, but I am not going to fight them. Well, I'm going to fight one of them. I'm not going to fight the other. The other is an enemy I want to avoid as much as possible. Those who have played this randomizer, sorry for your ears. That is not something that normally happens. Oh, I'm using that like I think it's Faltea. I'll be honest, that never happened before, so again, apologies for that. But unfortunately, this Kamikaze cat has a purple, so we unfortunately have to... We have to give it a nice purple dark yarn ball. Please be HP. Fortunately, it's not. I'm gonna switch to the Valkyrie dress again. Nope, there's something over there. Right there you can kind of like see how invert can just make it easy to get through certain rooms. So, give me one moment. I haven't really talked about some of the bosses as much. So this is Zangetsu. He is actually the wielder of the Zangetsuto, which is the sword that we picked up earlier. He is voiced by David Hayter. He, as you can see, has 2 boss fights. The second one is right here, which is also a pretty tough boss fight normally. However, true Zangetsu has fallen, which unfortunately gives me a knife and kung fu shoes. It's not the key item I was hoping for. So I'm trying to figure out what other key item check I am currently missing.
What would you like to buy? Is this where you are?
I'm actually going to use this opportunity to sell stuff. Most of this stuff, like the mahogany and the cypress and even the platinum, we don't really use it. So we just buy whatever we can. We buy more waystones. Gonna see if there's anything else that's worth buying, which so far isn't really the case. This is actually a pretty good talisman scarf. It's the highest defense. Oh, what do I wanna... Nope. I keep checking to see if maybe, just maybe, what I'm looking for is in the craftables, which is the Jeebel's glasses. I'm going to just do a quick little check of enemies that I have defeated, because maybe I missed one. In terms of, like, the purples. Because one of the things about doing these types of runs is that there are some that you can easily miss if you're not careful. There is definitely one I know I missed on purpose in the final area. Okay, so most of the stuff I've fought and defeated... has been found, so I just got to figure out 2 things. One, what is the missing key item? Because it does unlock a number of purple shard checks, but until I find it, I'm kind of... Oh, actually, no, I know where the key item check is. I'm on my way to it. I sometimes forget that there is a key item check right here. That is the key item I've been looking for. However, I'm going to go this way. Okay, I'm actually going to warp back, though. For two reasons. One, the silver bromide lets me access the train, which will unlock... well, the train, and also a secret lab. I forgot the actual lab name. There's 3 secret labs in this game. We're going to go to Lever Ex Machina. We talked to OD, he gives us access to the pass plate, because we did a number of teleports. We also get access to our 3rd book. The other books are also unlocked based on your map completion. So the more of the map that you unlock, the more books he'll offer you. If you unlock, I believe it's 90% of the map percentage, you unlock a specific book, which if you take with you to the Glacial Tomb, and then to the final warp point, you'll get a secret boss fight against him, which is how you get the Standstill Shard normally. If you are able to defeat him, it is a very difficult boss fight. Then, congratulations, because you unlock the Standstill Shard, but if you go back to the library to speak with him, to speak with OD, he reappears with nose glasses, which is ridiculous and funny. And because you defeated him, he cannot really contest with you taking every single book. So then you can take every single book. Alright, right here, the ninjas, we want to kill them because they can give us a purple shard, which could be our dimension shift. Right there is Venomous, unfortunately. Normally you're supposed to wait for Zangetsu to kind of use his arm chain thing to create a path, but because we are, 1, speedy, and 2, we have invert, we don't have to wait for him. Yeah, even though we are kind of like way past where we should be able to fight this guy, I am not taking risk in terms of, unfortunately I took a hit. I am not taking risks on taking damage I don't need to take. Okay, he should be low. He's gotta wait for Zangetsu. There we go. Also, yeah, I know I said the thing about Tis Zion, but you also gotta deal with that with Faltayab. He gives us a purple, which is unfortunately released Toad. We can unload the Toad. Save just for the MP restoration. More Alkahest. Alkahest is also a very interesting item. It's mainly used for dismantling equipment. These bomb morts are also ones that have a purple shard. Flamethrower is a really useful one. Thankfully, the bomber mort actually gave me the shard quickly, so I didn't have to worry. And then shortly after we had a boss fight, we have another boss fight with Bathin. The game does also have a boss revenge mode, which allows you to play as a number of the bosses in the game. Bathin is one of them. Yeah, he says that he's so fast that we won't even see him. But unfortunately, well, wrong DS. So we call Dimension Shift DS, because obviously its initials DS. But if we get Directed Shield, well, we just say wrong DS. which means it's on one of two enemies. Ooh, Wrist Ring is actually a very useful accessory. It does make you more of a glass cannon, but it also increases the amount of damage that you deal. How much? Quite a bit. Alright, that's everything here, so we're gonna leave. I'm actually gonna go back to the ship for a moment. It's not for a purple shard, it's mostly for an accessory. And since I have Accelerator, it isn't a bad thing to go for. Because it's right here. Also lets me have a bit of a thought process. Like, where else do I need to go? So, there isn't really much else. There are 4 immediate thoughts as to where the Purple Shard Dimension Shift could be. The first one, we have to go back to the Glacial Tomb, is on the Demon Lord enemy that I was fighting. Also, I just realized my HP is pretty much 666, which is very interesting considering the theme. Alright, so this is the Demon Lord. It can have Dimension Shift. So unfortunately, Demon Lord is the kind of like the worst enemy to try to fight for its shard. Or it's one of the worst, at least. And there we go. Alright, I am going to waste stone back because by completing the train and the lab, we do get access to an updated shop. So we get access to some extra potions, which is good because we now have better healing. Unfortunately, I don't have any. Yeah, unfortunately, I did not get any Howlite, which is necessary for us to create the rice balls. So I'm just going to do a bunch of things. I'm going to buy a bunch of items for food. Actually, hold on to that so I can switch. I will switch to that.
Thank you. Here you are. Is this right? Leisure is Carl. Thank you. Is Carl. Thank you.
Okay. So I will buy those. I'm going to buy 3 of these, which is the max you can hold. Now I'm going to buy about 4 of everything.
Is it Carl? Thank you. Is it here you are? Is it here you are? Is Carl?
And the reason why I'm buying 4 of everything is because you might actually get enough of an item to be able to create some sort of food. Granted, I am now low on money, but I can always sell a couple more things just for extra money if needed.
What'll it be?
I'm gonna make some cheese.
I'll go with
with this.
Make pasta noodles. Okay, so unfortunately, didn't really come out to
I'll go with
anything.
this.
I think if anything, I should be fine though. Oh wait! I just saw pizza.
Transmuting this time?
I'll go with this.
So we now just made a pizza.
Great.
Alright, I'm gonna... Oh, I don't want to switch to that. I want to switch to this, and I want to switch to this. I want to switch to the... I don't want to switch to the wrist ring just yet, so I'm gonna actually use... No, I'm just gonna leave those.
Oh, what
We can also sell shards, which we're gonna do now.
is pleasure doing? Is there you are? Is called.
Alright, sadly, I am gonna sell out the...
Thank you. Is called.
Tisra Zion.
Thank you. Is called. Is it called? Is there? Is called.
And since I didn't get Jeebel's glasses, unfortunately, a number of other shards are useless.
Thank you. Is called. Thank you. Is it called? Is it there you are?
Okay.
Oh,
We're pretty much kind of overdoing it now, but...
is pleasure doing? Business?
Some extra pizzas. And I do have the ethers, so I can kind of like spam a couple of spells. Also, I gotta make sure my jumping is better. Alright, it's okay if I take a little bit of damage. Also, I just realized that is not the right one.
Dimension shift.
So kind of still trying to figure out where
Dimension shift.
Jeebel's glasses could be. There are a number of accessory checks that I did not actually do. Either because I couldn't, or because I didn't go to them. But it could have easily been any one of those. Alright, Faltaya. One last safety save as well. I will equip the... Where is it? Wrist ring. For damage. Alright, so this is Dominique. Ooh. Surprised me with that by using the light show. Alright, but once her eye starts glowing yellow or green like that, there we go. It's usually like every 2 melee attacks that she will try to go with the elbow. There we go. Dominique is actually the hard part of this fight. And I kind of like was able to do it with very minimal damage. I took a single hit that she surprised me with. If I didn't take that hit, we would have just no damaged that, which would have been good. The last fight is Bale. Unfortunately, because I didn't get Jeebel's glasses, I could not really show it here. Maybe when I do my Max Chaos Showcase. But the one reason why I got Standstill before is because Dominique, or Bale specifically, is not immune to Standstill. This is also a little bit of a sketchy fight because of that. Also, I just realized I forgot to use my poison, which Dominique is weak to poison. And I say weak, but I mean she can be hit with poison, which is a very scary status element to hit your enemies with, because it will drain their HP pretty quickly. Anyway, yeah, Bale is comprised of 3 heads: the frog, the landlord, and the cat, as we call him. Cat is not exactly good, it's actually the worst. And here's why. It's mostly the lava. If you don't have invert or dimension shift or a way to keep yourself in the air, it can actually kill you and probably be a death sentence. In this case, it was actually not too bad because we did have a lot of power, so that's good. The frog is the best one because it doesn't have a lot of dangerous attacks, and when it does, Dominique activates her most powerful attack for the head. It's just a single attack that if you're standing at a specific point close to it and ducking, it will never hit you. You then have the Landlord, who has a similar attack, but it's much bigger and it will hit you if you try that. But that is the same type shuffle randomizer. Give me a couple of minutes so I can just run to the restroom real quick, and then I'm going to quickly do a max chaos randomizer. For those who maybe watch this on YouTube, like the people who are looking at this for the Final Fantasy Randomizer Rando Marathon for summer 2025, I will include a timestamp in the description for you guys. So, let's do... I'll keep that max. I want to keep that one. But, yeah, give me like about 5 minutes just to use the bathroom, and we can go into the max chaos settings. Alright, I am back. So, this is going to be a max chaos seed for the FFR Marathon Showcase. Now, we usually do same type shuffle for the racing. We've also been experimenting with max chaos. In a case of like a solo setting, it can definitely take a long time because of the amount of checks that we get. Some of us have like kind of like worked on an idea for co-op for max chaos. So like both of us do the same seed, and we kind of like to split off and try to figure out where is what. If there's anything useful, we just relay it to our partner. But with that, we're going to go into it. We're going to do the same type of difficulty options. But this time, we're going to have items set to total random and the save and warp rooms be mixed. So, similar to before, we start with the Shantae outfit. But the item that we get is no longer the Zangetsuto or a key item. It's now just a random potion. And another thing is, well, yeah, things like that can happen. We can now find upgrades in treasure chests that are not where they normally would be. Enemies will now have any type of shard, so it now becomes a case of kill everything and check as much as you can. So we're going to now go up here because there is a hidden wall, which in the vanilla game is an armor, and in same type shuffle, it's also an armor. This also gives us a treasure chest, which gave me an MP upgrade, pretty nice. We got silk, which is not that nice, unfortunately. There is one thing I would like to show off, but it will depend on if RNG is on my side. So the main thing with Max Chaos, like one of the benefits of it, is you get to see more of the game. The downside is that it does take longer. As someone who, at one point, actually had a 25-minute Max Chaos seed, going from that to 2 hours on my next seed was not exactly great. But on the plus side, we get to see more of the game. So we get to see maybe some more jank. Jank that we in the Rando racing community definitely love. However, there is also something very important that I didn't mention with the same type shuffle. So the Mort enemy normally does not have a shard in the vanilla part of the game. In Rando, it can, but if you do Max Chaos, the interesting aspect is what happens to that that slot that no longer has a shard. It could be on any enemy now. So these Semas that I'm killing may not have it. They may not have a shard at all. We can't really say the same for the Cannon Mort because it did give us a shard. Which I'm only killing because extra shards are pretty helpful. The Shuriken is actually a powerful shard for a lot of different reasons. The problem is it has a high MP cost. It deals a high amount of damage. It fires 3 Shurikens, which, if all of them hit, deal more damage than, say, a single Shuriken. A single Shuriken hurts, but 3 of them is better. And it's also a distance shard. It's a conjure shard, so you have to, like, you know, spam triangle, which is whatever, but it does cost a lot of MP as a result. So you might see me use it a couple times before I have to start, like, you know, running into the enemies and actually do it. So, here's a good example. There we go. It costs 40 MP, as you can kind of see. And I was only able to get 3 casts because I actually grabbed one of these blue roses, which... I forget if I mentioned it, but if it wasn't too obvious, they recover MP. Also, blue shard early is really good. Unfortunately, it's bunny morphosis, which, turns you into a bunny. It does consume MP while you have it activated, so it can be useful. Shout out to a challenge runner by the name of Gnarly, who normally does Shin Megami Tensei challenge runs. He did a challenge run for Bloodstained using bunny morphosis. Entirely bunny morphosis. So, kudos to him. Alright, so we did get a Dragonic Rage off of Sema, so we don't have to farm that one. The Ilo we don't have to worry about. Dullahammer, this is the only spot where we'll find Dullahammers, so I'll actually come back for it, because I can grab the quest for it, and then I can defeat 3 of them to finish the quest. Quests will also not retain the same type of items. In the same type shuffle, they actually retain the type of items. So that strawberry a lot I got in a previous seed was because that slot gives food. You do have to be careful on Max Chaos randomizers though, because it is entirely possible that this boss fight you have to do it without a weapon. Okay, so I kind of like purposely targeted the head there. That's why I didn't use my shurikens earlier, because attacking the head deals more damage. You know, it's kind of like that, you know, the movie where the giant purple guy says, "You should have gone for the head," and then he snaps his fingers and the world explodes, or something. I know, I didn't watch it. Okay, so Johannes will give us something. Okay, so nothing popped up, which means we are getting an HP, MP, or capacity upgrade. Since we can create just about anything... Oh, we see the Jeebus glasses, so we need 1 petrifying round to make it. And I can kind of see from just a number of different items, petrifying rounds has a big amount of things that it requires. So if we can find a petrifying round, then the good news is we get Jeebus glasses. Okay, we get an MP max upgrade, which is pretty decent. So.
Oh, what would you like to buy?
Now, Diamond Bullets is really good because it is actually the best bullet. The problem is we want to make something like a, you know, a good gun and a recycle hat. Recycle hat makes it so that you never consume bullets. So if we actually are able to do that, then that'd be great. Unfortunately, there are a couple things. One, we don't have alcohol in the shop, which is a possibility to buy, which would make things so much easier. And we don't have anything else that we can really use. So, in this case, we can't make the petrifying bullets, but we can probably dismantle an item for it. And the answer is yes, we can. We can dismantle a scarf. So, if we can get 6 alcohols, which we found 1. We found 1 off an enemy. Ah, it's on Morts. Good news is we are going to fight some more Morts, so we can definitely easily get that, which will definitely make the scene a lot more interesting. And because we got the waste stones in the shop, which isn't usually a thing in Max Chaos, we don't have to worry about teleporters too much. The good news is that the teleporter that is right above the Arvenville town over on the left is always a warp point in Max Chaos, regardless. Which I think they purposely did that to make sure that you don't have to worry about trying to find it. Anyway, we just found the Zangetsuto again, which is really early. In some cases with Max Chaos, you may not be finding it for quite a while because it can be anywhere, and that is normally an accessory check. But again, Max Chaos means that it could be anything, and the game decided here, have the Zangetsuto. Okay, cool. Actually, you know, I'm going to go this way because I want to kill more Morts. If it gives me more alcohols, which is what I really need right now, then I get closer to those Jeebles. But I also want to go back for the Dollar Hammer because, again, the Dollar Hammer, it's only encountered in that one spot. I'm actually going to go this way. This way would be faster. But I do need to defeat the Dollar Hammer because it could have my dimension shift. Or it could just have a really useful shard. That's also 3 alcohols so far, which is really good. If I get the Jeebus glasses, you guys will actually get to see why we want those Jeebus glasses as early as possible. Because it will trivialize a lot of things, including the Dollar Hammer farm I'm going to do in a few moments. Minutes, actually, at this rate, because we need 2 more, which the game definitely can detect. I really want them. So, in terms of Max Chaos, we don't really race Max Chaos, mostly because the potential seeds can go on for a long time with how crazy it is, so we try not to make it be like a pure luck fest. Okay, there we go. We got 7, so we're pretty much all set. So I'm actually going to give up my current scarf, which, the base scarf, whatever, you can give it up.
What are we transmuting this time?
I'll go with this.
And we are going to immediately craft the Jeebus glasses.
I'll go with this. Tell me.
We did get some other shards, so nothing really worth it. So we're gonna just keep
the Libelo guy.
keep the shurikens, which I actually gotta talk to this person right here.
Here's what I've turned up on.
Her favorite line is to say, "Kill those murderers dead." This also pretty much means that physical-based combat, so weapons don't really matter. The Zangetsuto is whatever. Is pretty much all we need. Oh, I can also farm the giant rat here, actually, which is something I will do in a moment, once we get the Dollar Hammer. So we're going to farm the Dollar Hammer first. I forgot to also pay attention to this. Ah, okay. So this chest will respawn the moment I step out from here, which means you could just spam this. Depending on what it provides, it can be a very useful money farm tool. Oh, it has a purple tornado slicer. Not a bad choice. I already got the seam, so we don't really have to stay here. But yeah, depending on what it provides, it can actually give you a very useful money farm tool. In this case, it gives me a cypress, which I believe is the best money or piece of wood to sell for money. And it also gives 500 gold. So it can give you multiple items. Alright, for those of you who are watching, I will actually give you a different voice. You can apply it in-game. We do have a couple of runners who do prefer the Japanese voice. So... Oh, we got a red. Ah, Summon Hellhound. That is actually the one I was hoping for in the previous seed. Oh, unfortunately, we don't have enough MPs to actually cast it, so I'm not going to use it. It costs 200 MP, which is the highest MP cost in the game for every single shard. I don't think I can make a... nope, I can't. I'm going to actually go see if I can buy a specific weapon. There are a couple of weapons. I mentioned techniques that you can do. There are a couple that are very, very, very useful. Okay, unfortunately, none of the shops have what we're looking for. So, I will, however, buy a strawberry pie. Strawberry pie will also increase my luck, so if I get low on HP, which, holy crap, what the heck was I doing? Considering I have, you know... infinite MP, so I could just do this. I shouldn't have to worry about anything. Unless I'm, unfortunately, messing up my jump cancels, which, unfortunately, is happening more than it should. However, I should never have to worry about my my HP, rather. Okay, so the only thing that we really need to find now is Dimension Shift. So I don't have to really do item-related checks, but I'm going to do a few right now, because, again, I don't have the MP for casting... Summon Hellhound. So you never know where you can kind of like find maybe some extra MP, which for me will be helpful, especially because there is an accessory that if I manage to find can increase my damage further, but it's going to also cost me more MP. It's the Skull Necklace. You increase the MP cost of your shard skills, but in return you increase the damage by, I believe, 50%. Okay, another purple, which is venomous. Unfortunate, but that's okay. Now, I could farm the Gyramund right there, the dog, but I'm not going to do that. Shout out to the people who backed the game because they actually got their portraits of themselves put into the game. And in some cases, some people use it on their pets, which is why you saw a picture of a cat earlier. And I believe some of the people who backed the game also managed to get their actual pets made into enemies, which is why some of the enemies, like the cats and the dogs, look very too realistic. Okay, I don't think I... Wait, did I actually get the ghost? So this is where we actually need to kind of pay attention to what we actually... what shards we get, and from who. Because it is entirely possible that we may have gotten a shard, or we may have missed the shard. Because at this point, with Max Chaos, you have to farm everything. Okay, this actually would have been the better room to farm Subnaukin, but considering I got it pretty quickly, it's okay. There are quite a number of rooms here, too. Oh. Oh, hello! Flamethrower is really good. Unfortunately for me, it's going to also tire my hand out, or my fingers at least, because to actually use Flamethrower, you have to mash it. But you can charge it. I don't believe the charge increases the damage, just increases like its range, so it's useful, but not that useful, unfortunately. Also, I did say that the purple shards are directional shards. This is why they're directional. You can aim them. In case it wasn't too obvious. While Conjure Shards, it's like, okay, whatever direction they go in, when you fire them is, well, whatever happens. So, we're done there. There is a wall there that I would like to check, but I don't have anything that would let me get in there, so we're just going to move on. Wrong DS again! This time much earlier. Actually, no, never mind. I am not going to farm the plants because I got the plant shard. The plant shard is the flamethrower, which is ironic. But we will actually try to maybe get a second level. So the thing with shards in the game is that you can get multiples of them, up to 9. Each shard will get better potency with more shards. So in this case, my flamethrower will get stronger the more flamethrower shards I have, up to 9 again. But you can also upgrade them further by enhancing them with Johannes in the town, which enhancing will provide a different effect, depending on the shard. A good example is the Tisrozion I have, which is the Kamehameha wave, the little laser light beam. The beam will actually get larger to make it easier to hit enemies, and harder for them to dodge. It doesn't actually increase the damage. Also, if you've been paying attention, remember, I said that save rooms and warp rooms are also changed. Right there you can kind of see an example where the save room previously is now a warp room. And right there, you can kind of see another reason why Flamethrower is pretty overpowered. It can provide stopping power. Stopping power specifically means it causes an enemy's animations to be slowed down, meaning you can get more damage output on it before it actually becomes a threat to you. We're not going to go into that room because it is for a side quest, which unfortunately the side quest is not really useful to us. It's a little bit of a Bunny Morphosis action, where the backdash is unfortunately replaced by a backflip. Which I don't think the backflip is that good. I think it doesn't have iframes, and you can't animation cancel it like you can with the backdash. So yeah, the slide though you can like do like a cancel into a backdash, but you can't do it like constantly, like so. Unfortunately, I don't really have like my controller inputs on screen. However, I'm sure you can kind of hear my mashing of the controller. We did get a highlight there, so if we find rice, we could make rice balls. But we can buy food in the shop, so it doesn't really matter. In this case, with Max Chaos, we have an opposite problem, where we can get healing very easily. It's mostly just the shards that we need. Also, the canister I opened had a yellow shard. Normally those have white shards. In the case of Max Chaos, it does mean that all containers that utilize the same item type location, or item location, so in this case I got second resist ice, which would be shortcut in the vanilla game. And the white shard, or the other yellow shard that I got here, which was invert in the previous seed, would have given me shortcut in vanilla as well. So it pretty much is just the game's way of trying to make it so you're not completely murdered or screwed on shards at times. So you're going to get multiple copies. In this case, we got to show off what is called the safety invert. In that one specific room, we saw a shard canister that had a red look to it. That one was guaranteed to be invert. Normally, there's only the shortcut canister, which would be whatever shard it is shuffled to in the randomizer. So the fact that we got a safety invert means that we probably don't have a form of movement outside of that safety invert. This kind of goes back to like what I was saying before, where soft locks could happen. Because the game did not give you any sort of shard for progression. You didn't get craft work, you didn't get double jump, you didn't get reflector ray, dimension shift, invert, high jump, or deep sinker even. Tepsosius. So that would normally be a familiar. Instead we get Tepsosius, which is a pretty good purple shard actually. But we're not going to really use it, at least not now. Okay, I killed quite a few of these, so let's actually just do a quick little check. Lance Armor does have a shard. If it didn't have a shard, then it wouldn't actually list it in the compendium. Because it does, we just have to farm it out. This is technically not the best spot, but it's the earliest spot, which, if anything, this spot is fine. The only thing that can make this better is if I were to get better equipment. Or even more levels, because levels do give you a couple of stat boosts. In some cases, though, it takes a few more levels than just one, for example. So, I'm going to move on because, well, we kind of just spent way too long. We finally got it, which gave us Dantalion, which is a familiar. Actually, one of the better familiars. It can give you a strength buff, which unfortunately isn't good right now, but for the most part, it's good. It's just not good with when you have Jeebel's glasses. Right, I'm actually going to switch to Tepsosius here. I'm sure that is kind of getting annoying. But unfortunately, some shards will be like that. Alright, got him again. Oh, whoops, I went out. Unfortunately, my backdash cancel did not really work the way I intended. I was going to do something like that, where you can cancel your backdash with another shard usage, or even attack. You kind of won't be able to cancel it as easily, but it works. Alright, gonna check Gommigan now. Gommigan does. Unfortunately, the light elemental is a little bit too low, so I have to do that. So, something like this is actually like a better way to kind of like do your farming. Since it means that you actually start trying to kill enemies on both screens. We also have the maledictions, which are they're pretty much the other Medusa head style of enemies. Except they petrify you if they hit you, which is annoying. We finally got a red. It's a 8-bit flame, which not as good as Hellhound, but it's still pretty good. Oh, I got stoned today. Okay. This is where I'm going to actually eat that strawberry pie. Getting 3 luck plus 1 intelligence means I not only increase my chances of drops. Actually, we don't need to do this because L'Orage is a different. Is the enemy that we want to farm, not the light elemental. Okay, lethargy. Thanks, game. I was wondering why it took so long. Also, that bird's going to be one of the more annoying enemies to farm. Alright, Flying Dagger is also a pretty decent one. It's good in the case where I don't want to use shurikens, so shurikens might be a better option at times. Even if I have to jump, it's still a better option. I'm actually going to go fight the boss first. And that's why Flamethrower with Chibo's Glasses is really good. Also, Void Ray, which is similar to the Kamehameha Wave, the Tisra Zion, except it's Darkness Elemental and doesn't really have the same weakness. This one actually will deal less damage per hit, but it hits rapidly. So, since we got this, we now have like one of the better farming shards. This is pretty much what I just have to do now. Just use the light shard and boom. Or the dark shard, I guess. Alright, Bullet Blast is actually pretty good with the with Jeebel's glasses. It deals holy damage. It can also inflict a bit of stun. Cookies. Cookies are nice. Alright, we're gonna go this way because there's a cat. Sorry, Nyaban. Throw Spear is another good Conjure Shard. It's similar to Shuriken, except it throws spears. Okay, I think I got Demon already, so let's do a quick little check just to make sure. I'm missing Giramund and Ilo, which are easy. Toad, I'm also missing. Simeon, I'm missing, but Simeon we can farm in a better spot. Poltergeist appears in so many locations, it's okay. Demon, okay, we need Demon. But Demon appears right here. Although the sad thing about getting that Void Ray is I cannot level it up in terms of getting more shards, which means it's going to have its lowest damage output. The issue with getting a shard on, say, a boss is that you can't exactly power it up if you can't refight the boss. Which, well, you can't really refight bosses here. Ah, it has Shard. 8-bit Fireball. Okay. So, that's actually a nice little trick. If we happen to kill an enemy and we leave the room before the Shard pops out, but we know it was going to be a Shard, we can check the Compendium to see what it had. So this is an area that we didn't go to before. I'm going to just show this off because this can have a very important item. So, in the middle, right here, could be a safety Zangetsuto. Similar to the safety invert. In some cases, you may actually not be able to get Zangetsuto. I mentioned before that the Zangetsuto, for some people, because of the lack of perfect logic that was used, or that was not used, rather, the Zangetsuto could actually be placed in an area after it'd be required. So if you play like any sort of randomizer or seen a sort of randomizer, like take Ocarina of Time for example, putting the Megaton Hammer as a reward for defeating Volvagia is not a good idea. Because, well, for one, you just softwalk yourself, especially if Volvagia is required to beat the game. Okay, so this is actually going to be the best way I can farm the Okapi. Alright, so unfortunately because of the Shield Outsider having a very powerful shield, it's not exactly easy to damage him. I can use Stepsocius. Let's see, Larage we still need. Oh, Shield Outsider. Okay. So this is where I can fight the Simian. Yeah, Max Chaos, once you get Jeebles, the farming just becomes a matter of, you know, just get good luck. Let me see, I don't think I have anything that increases my luck further. Yeah, so unfortunately my 15 luck is going to be the best I have. At least until I get access to something better. There's the Simian giving me the 8-bit zombie. Unfortunately, not a good shard. At least not in terms of what I need. Okay, so that is a green chest, so I definitely want to check that. Just in case. You never really know what these could have. And another green chest. Chain equipment, okay. In the case of the equipment, we could get access to some pretty useful stuff. I think on the next warp, I'm going to go back to town. I obviously have not had a reason to go back to town, but I definitely need to give myself a reason to. Yeah, unfortunately, the Bloodbringer is a weird enemy when it comes to getting hit with lasers. If you don't one-shot it, it will kind of just tank it like that. Valkyrie Sword. That is actually one of the best swords in the game. That was a bad mess up. Since we have the Zangetsuto, we could actually go fight Jeeble early. And considering that we have Jeeble's glasses, it's not exactly that difficult to defeat him. But we have to be careful. I mentioned before, killing him results in the game over, so we have to destroy the moon. So we have to channel our inner Dr. Eggman. Except without the piss on the moon. Okay, nope, that's a warp. I'm gonna warp back. This will give me access to some new quests, but also just add more stuff. Okay. In terms of equipment, I still can't really make some good stuff. Let's see, unfortunate. Oh, actually, I need a petrifying round. This would also be a good weapon to make, but unfortunately, we don't really have a need to make it. Okay, so I do need another option for petrify rounds, which means I either have to farm another 6 Alcahest, or I just say whatever. Oh, actually...
何を連載する?
So I mentioned upgrading. In most cases, you're not going to actually upgrade your shards in a randomizer run. Mostly because, like, there's no need to.
何買ってくれるの?
Alright, so I'm buying that because it has the highest intelligence stat, which means that we're going to be killing things more easily with our shards. Our shards are all magic focused, regardless of what type of effect they have. So we just made a lot of money, so gonna buy one of just about every food item. I'm gonna buy this too. It's not good for magic, but the fire is the main thing. Or, I mean, not the fire. It's the fact that it just gives you a ton of defense. That's really the real reason. I'm also gonna use the nectar. Nectar would recover our MP. It's practically like an EX ether, but because of the fact that we don't need it because of Jeebles, I might as well just drink it now. If you're wondering, how do you get Jeebles glasses in the vanilla game? Well, that requires getting all shards. So, yeah. So right there you can kind of see like a double warp room. Pretty scary. Oh, okay, we can actually just beat the game right away. So, actually, I'm going to go up here because there could be a potential weapon. And right there you can see Summon Hellhound and its actual power. So I do have to be a bit careful here. Ooh, okay, that was a very bad hit. But yeah, you can kind of like see how this can go sometimes. I'm actually going to not use Void Ray. I'm going to just switch to Hellhound. And also forgot that. As the Dimension Shifto begins. Alright, I think it's going to take maybe 2 or 3. One more? Right, so yeah, you gotta be careful when you have such a high damaging attack. Such as Hellhound, because yeah, if you're not careful, you'll just murder the enemy. Okay, gonna buy some extra healing because this is a bit quicker than I thought it would be, which is not a bad thing because there are times where a max Chaos Seed could go longer or shorter. This is one of the more shorter ones, which is good. With Max Chaos, we can probably like expect like another hour or 2 if things did not go well. Also, I forgot about the Garamond here. You know what? Let's farm him. Because it won't take long. Hopefully. Oh. Apparently my Hellhound missed. No crossing. Aww. I'm kind of hoping for a blue. For obvious reasons, maybe we'll get another accelerator. Or if it stands still, I can make use of that. Does he actually not have anything? No, he does. He just doesn't want to drop it, I guess. So, one of the rings I could craft, but I don't have the items for it, is the Solomon ring, which does increase the chances of shard drops, as it just an actual effect. It's not because of, oh, it increases your luck by a ton. No, it's actually just on top of luck. The stats it provides are also very useful. Just in general. Unfortunately, this is also a downside of base Hellhound. It does have a bit of an accuracy issue, where certain things, even on even footing, will not get hit. Yeah, unfortunately, with Jeebles, I can do a nice little trick with certain weapons. Certain techniques actually have you dash forward. A good example is the weapon Graham, which pretty much has you... It's a great sword that you hold behind you as you charge forward, and then you just do like a super powerful upward swing. Unfortunately, I didn't get Jeebles in the previous seed that I recorded. So, yeah... We couldn't really show it off there. But there are a couple of other weapons that do similar things. Eternal Blue is one of them, which is an ice version of Graham. And then there's one that we just call Speed Spear because it has a very unique name. Which, unfortunately, I cannot remember it off the top of my head. Like Lin something something. It's 3 words. But we call it Speed Spear because it has a similar effect where it just has you dash forward. Just pointing out, or no, not pointing out, pushing the spear forward, charging into enemies, and you just bounce off enemies that you actually come in contact with. Graham does not do that. It actually just forces you to kind of like take a hit and stop with your momentum. So usually if you're going to use Graham, you just stop before you collide with the enemy to actually deal a big amount of damage, which in a number of cases can actually be a killing blow for them. Okay, that is unfortunate. Because that being a warp room means I need to progress with my current health. So I'm not going to take the risk, I'm just going to use the potions. Maybe there would be a health upgrade right here. Actually, there was. I'm going to grab it. Even though we have pretty much like our perfect combat with Dimension... not Dimension Shift. Jeebles, Hellhound, and even Void Ray in a number of cases. We still need to keep our health up. We don't exactly have the best armor. Thankfully, the Flame Mail I bought was very useful. But right now, it's just, you know, don't take too many hits and you'll be fine. Now, I don't have the wrist ring on. If I did, well, I don't have it, but if I had one, then my defenses being lowered would be bad, but the damage buff I get is very useful. Another bronze and halite. Okay. Mostly use that Dimension Shift because I would land in the middle of those toads. Not exactly a good spot to be in. Yeah, this will be a sub 1 hour seed. Mostly just grabbing chests for any potential items that are useful. Max HP is always good. We welcome that. We don't really need max MP anymore since we have access to Hellhound being casted. But if we get Skull Necklace, we might need a little bit more MP if we want to use both of them. Okay, I'm actually going to use this opportunity to save, because there is one room before Dominique and Bale. I don't know if that'll be a save point. It could be a warp point. It's kind of funny that I was hoping for Standstill and Jeebles glasses, and I got one of them in the previous seed, and then I got the other in this seed, but never both of them together. Right. I could just go and beat the game, but I want to take this a little bit slow because I don't want to use up my healing items before I get to a save point, and if the last room is not an actual save point, I will need to go in with whatever health I have. So try not to take damage as much as possible right now. Unfortunately, I botched that up. Okay, I'm also going to equip Valkyrie's sword because there are a couple cases where I may need to use the weapon. Okay, save point, good. I'm going to now switch to Void Rain. Dominique is weak to Dark, mainly, or it takes neutral. She takes neutral damage to Dark, but Dark overall is very useful. Oh, yeah, gotta be careful of that. Oh, especially like when you get combo like that. Okay, I am playing like a little bit crazy. Alright, so that was a little bit close because her ultimate shard attack is Tisrozion, which can actually deal 200 plus damage depending on your defenses and your equipment. If you have wrist ring on, it could almost one-shot you. It could deal like 400 damage, which for me, if I actually had it on right now, would be one-shot territory. Alright, so we got the Landlord, but we're probably not going to worry too much about its attacks because we're dealing nearly 400 damage with our one and only Hellhound. Yep, there we go. GG's. And we get the medal to show how easy this fight is. But one reason why I want Standstill, I think I mentioned it before, but if I didn't, Standstill works in this boss fight, which makes it be the most freest boss fight, final boss fight in almost any game ever. Especially if you have Jeebles. If you have Jeebles, Standstill, boom, you just wait till Dominique appears and you defeat her. Alright, but that is the end of my showcase for the Bloodstained Randomizer, both the same type shuffle and the max chaos settings that we like to do. Hopefully this gets into the Final Fantasy Randomizer Marathon for summer 2025. My name is Axel Ryman. I may not be able to appear in person, but I would like to do so remotely. Tony Ortiz is definitely going to be attending, to my knowledge, and he has also submitted. We definitely want to showcase the Bloodstained Randomizer, an officially made randomizer for a game that has been a really great inspiration for a lot of people and is a lot of fun. If you haven't tried out the Bloodstained Randomizer, definitely give it a shot. I mean, I kind of like give it a little bit of flack because of like the lack of logic usage, but it's definitely a very competent randomizer, and it's a very fun one. Definitely join our racing community, too, if you happen to catch this. Other than that, I'm Axel Ryman. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.